I never imagined that after years of marriage, I'd catch Than Mat cheating on me 3 separate times. The first time was right at my own birthday party. She slapped the other guy across the face, then dropped to her knees right in front of me, begging me not to leave her. The second time was at my mother's funeral. Those two crawled out from behind the altar, clothes totally messed up. She actually threatened me, saying if I dared to ask for a divorce, she'd pull all her funding, bankrupting the Ha family company completely. She'd leave me completely homeless on the streets. She even threatened to make a massive scene right there, ruining my mother's chance to rest in peace in the afterlife. The third time, she dragged me to the hospital, screaming about how cruel I was just because that same guy got hit by a car and broke some bones. Bo Dat is a dancer. Do you even know how important his legs are? She yelled. Then she had her bodyguards force me onto my knees right in front of him. If Bo Dat can never dance again, she told me, then you really do not need to keep your own legs either. She claimed he loved her way too much and would never try to replace me. He just wanted to be with her. She actually called me completely heartless and unforgiving. Today is just a little lesson for you, so never make this mistake again. Then she ordered them to shatter my leg. She wheeled that guy away without even throwing a single glance back at me. The pain almost made me pass out, but I fought to stay awake and dialed one person. I need a divorce, I told her. Just help me this one time, and my entire life belongs to you. Send me your location, she replied. Not long after that, I was lifted off that freezing hospital floor and moved straight into a proper bed. The night felt absolutely suffocating. The woman beside me gently stroked my hand, treating me almost like a wounded pet. She sighed, saying she never expected Ha Kwang, the former proud heir of the Ha family, to end up like this, getting his leg broken by his own wife. Back then, you gave up every single asset for true love, she told me. You bet everything on her heart. So, do you regret it now? Saying I do not regret it would be a total lie. The Tham family was honestly just average in our circles. Than Mat marrying me was a huge step up for her, but I was so worried people would look down on her. I actually handed over most of my assets and shares. Think about how wild this is. I spent tens of millions throwing her the wedding of the century, elevating her like a literal princess. Everyone was so jealous, convinced she had found true love. I gave away absolutely everything I had, the very best parts of my life, just to protect and nurture this marriage. And yet, her cruel betrayal ended up dealing me a completely devastating blow. My right leg had barely just been put in a cast when my entertainment company called. They told me our main brand ambassador was suddenly replaced by some unknown male dancer. Than Mat had secretly swapped him out herself. That was a very strict, binding contract where the advertisers chose their representative. It absolutely could not be changed. Swapping him out meant a massive breach of contract, and the penalty fee was definitely not going to be small. I quickly called Than Mat. Loud club music blasted through the phone. She casually admitted that yes, she was the one who changed the ambassador. Don't all those artists just coast by on their looks anyway, she argued. Bo Dat is handsome, so what if I just hand him some good resources? Then she actually asked how my leg was doing, warning me not to cause trouble for Bo Dat just because she taught me a lesson. Fine, I will just call a doctor for you. So annoying, she muttered. Her words were slightly slurred, sounding like she was chewing on something while she spoke. I shot back. Who on earth told you that a brand ambassador only needs a pretty face? That contract has a strict, legally binding clause. Hearing that, Than Mat's tone instantly went ice cold. Ha Kwang, she snapped. Do you still think you are that powerful heir from before, where everyone has to bow to your every word? Right now, you are absolutely nothing at all. Have you seriously forgotten that? You handed all the Ha family assets over to me. If I tell you to get lost, you leave with nothing. So you better march over and apologize to Bo Dat right now. Having my pride completely trampled into the dirt by her yet again. I honestly could not stop this intense wave of absolute heartbreak. I closed my eyes, forcing down the bitter emotions surging inside me. Apologizing is totally impossible, I told her. I refuse to bow down to the guy who ruined my home. Than Mat, we really need to end this right here. She instantly caught the heavy, unspoken meaning behind my words. She started screaming, Ha Kwang, what the hell are you doing? Do you just not want the Ha family legacy anymore? Do you really want to test me? I will sell off every single share and completely erase your family's name. When I stayed dead silent, her tone suddenly softened. Okay, I went too far this time. You have every right to be angry. I promise I will not see him for a while. I will come home tonight and stay by your side. We can finally talk this out properly. Sitting there in my wheelchair, I just stared up at the starry sky. My heart was completely numb, totally emptied out. Than Matt, you are disgusting, I said. I do not want you anymore. She exploded. You call me disgusting? Men get to have multiple mistresses all the time, but women cannot keep a young guy around? Even if I wasn't keeping one now, definitely would later. So what if I just want to play around and have some fun? You think you can divorce me? Dream on. You belong to me for the rest of your life. I ended the call right there, my entire body completely drained of energy. Now watch this shift. Deep Nu Zhao had listened to that entire conversation. She suddenly grabbed my chin, her eyes flashing cold. You really want a divorce? Then I'll help you, she promised. We set up a meeting at a restaurant 3 days later. Then I went straight to my old house, ready to pack up my mother's remaining belongings. But the exact second I stepped into the yard, I spotted a couple casually grilling meat. Than Matt wears an apron, flipping barbecue meat, while Kaibo Dat sits right beside her, eating and casually fanning her. The heavy smell of oily smoke is so strong, I can easily catch it from a distance. Heaven knows how much Than Matt used to absolutely despise that greasy smell. Never liked cooking, completely refused to let any maids inside the house. She used to tell me she read plenty of books, claiming that young maids always schemed to somehow squeeze their way into their employer's marriage. She never wanted to leave any hidden risks for us. I completely understood her insecurity, so I dismissed all the maids. Knowing she hated the greasy kitchen smoke, I never once forced her to cook. I taught myself how to cook, carefully preparing elaborate dishes just for her. But looking at this exact scene today, she does not actually hate cooking. Smoke. She just hates cooking for me. Kaibo Dat smiles as he takes the food she feeds him, looking completely blissful. But all of that instantly stops the second he actually sees me. He grabs his head, whimpering loudly, just like some kind of injured wild animal. He begs me not to hit him, pleading that he won't fight for Than Matt anymore. Just please do not destroy him completely. He swears to never bother Than Matt again. He begs me not to throw him in the sea, crying his leg is completely broken and he will easily drown. He slides off the chair, dropping flat to the ground. His movements are sharply practiced, like he has done it countless times, looking completely pathetic in the dirty mud. Than Matt quickly helps him back into his chair, turning to face me, her eyes blaze with pure, furious anger. Now watch this. She asks if I really threw Kaibo Dat into the sea. Ha, Kwang. She snaps. How could you do something so totally vicious? She says she completely underestimated me before. Then she yells out, guards, grab him. The bodyguards, standing right by the door, immediately spring into action at her command. I'm violently dragged from my wheelchair. Than Matt speaks up again, coldly declaring she does not need my apology anymore at this point. She insists I must suffer the exact same pain Kaibo Dat felt. I swear I never even laid a single hand on him. I scream out in pure anger, breaking free from the guards. But then, my casted leg fails me, and I crash hard onto the ground. Kaibo Dat acts totally terrified again, instantly kicking the barbecue grill over. Afraid he might get hurt, Than Matt quickly pulls him back from the burning coals. A bunch of burning coals hit my body, burning right through my clothes into my skin. But Than Matt ignores it completely, coldly ordering them to throw me straight into the water. Since Kaibo Dat was scared 3 times, I must stay in the freezing water for 3 full hours. She tells them to use the freezing pond behind the old estate, not the regular pool, so I will actually remember this painful lesson for good. One guard worries about my safety, nervously asking if it's too dangerous since it's early spring. She snaps back what could possibly happen. She argues Kaibo Dat was thrown into the actual sea, so a broken pond is absolutely nothing. If the guard argues, she will increase it to 6 hours. The guard shuts up, forced to obey. Compared to my burns, this sheer injustice makes me feel so much more desperate and hopeless. I scream out for Than Matt, but I get tossed straight into the freezing pond. The bitter cold instantly erases my burning pain completely. I desperately try to swim ashore, but a long stick pushes me back down. The guard on the bank apologizes helplessly. Young master, time isn't up yet. A heavy blow strikes my shoulder, draining the very last bit of my strength. My casted leg feels like 1,000 pounds, slowly dragging me down to the bottom. Swallowing a few mouthfuls of freezing water, I slowly lose consciousness as my body violently sinks. Right then, the guards on the shore finally panic. One instantly jumps in to save me, while the other runs off to get help. When I wake up again, I am lying in the courtyard. My body won't move, and the living room door straight ahead is still wide open. Pay attention to this. I can clearly see every single thing happening inside that room. She says she only pursued me back then because I seemed so cold, acting like a challenging prince. She never expected me to treat her as my one true love. She calls him baby, saying, "I don't know how to pamper people like him." She complains my usual arrogant attitude bores her to absolute tears. Kaibo Dat looks up, gently kisses her. His pathetic voice claims that being loved by her is his absolute greatest luck. He worries young Master Ha will hear them doing this right here. He says I attacked him last time. Completely terrified, I might actually finish him off when she isn't around. Tham Than Mat laughs coldly, daring me to even try. If I actually intended that, she swears she would cripple me and keep me around as a useless pet. She tells him that in a marriage, hitting someone only counts as a basic domestic dispute, and nothing more. She confidently claims she can easily afford to keep a crippled man. I just stare up at the empty sky. The gentle spring breeze blows, but I feel chilled straight to the bone. Those memories I once thought were so romantic are slowly turning into cold ashes. The girl who once chased me so hard, who gave me a completely different life, who pulled me out of my restraints, she only exists in my memories now. I was so wrong about her. I loved the completely wrong person. Covering my eyes with my arm, the tears just silently fall down. The sounds of their intimacy in the living room flood my ears. Blending with the massive dizzy spell in my head, I completely fade into darkness again. A guard comes out to check on my condition. He moves my arm away, but the second he touches my skin, he realizes something is terribly wrong. This is bad. Young Master Ha has passed out from a high fever. Instantly, all the noise in the living room stops completely. Tham Than Mat runs out with her clothes completely messy, collarbone covered in marks. She touches my forehead, her face instantly dropping as she screams to call the family doctor. Do you guys have no idea? He is battling leukemia? Even a single fever could take him away completely. I pay your salaries, and this is how you work. I get rushed to the hospital. When I wake up, I am just lying in the hallway with N4 dripping into my arm. Tham Than Mount tosses a bottle of water at me. She says KBT is hurting again and resting inside a room, so she has to go check on him for a bit. You only have a fever. A VIP room is wasted on you, so I gave it to KBT instead. I quietly watch her walk away. It is like looking at a complete stranger. Now, my phone suddenly rings in my pocket. It is completely soaked, but somehow still working, which gives me some relief. It is Dip NH Zhao calling. She says she is coming over right away. She tells me my divorce is completely sorted out. I send her the hospital address. As a doctor wheels me away, I vaguely catch a few medics whispering in the hallway. That couple in the VIP room is so deeply in love. That guy is just insanely lucky. I heard he just complained his feet were cold, and she immediately brought warm water to soak them for him. You really cannot judge things by their cover. That guy fools around constantly. He even seduced someone else's wife before. His broken leg? That actually happened when he got beaten up for cheating. What nonsense are you guys talking about? A deep male voice suddenly cuts off the whispering medical staff. He sounds pretty furious, like his embarrassment has turned into pure rage. Keep talking trash, and I will definitely report all of you. The guy glares at everyone around him. Then he looks straight at the hospital room closest to the staff, pushes the door open, and just walks right in. Now pay attention to this part. When I lock eyes with KBT, a flash of panic hits his face. He tries staying calm. You heard that, right? But so what, anyway? Even if you tell Tham Than Mount, she will never believe a word you say. His eyes dart around the room, landing on a large bottle of medical alcohol. Then he immediately calls Tham Than Empt. Playing the main character perfectly, he starts crying his eyes out over the phone. Young Master H, I promise I will not do it again. Please do not burn me. Than Mount, save me. He hangs up, then rolls his wheelchair right into the medical alcohol, knocking it down. Somehow, he already has a lighter in his hand, and he tosses it straight down too. The very next second, flames absolutely erupt, catching all the fabric nearby. Tham Than Mount quickly finds the room and orders her bodyguards to smash the door wide open. Frantic, she grabs the handles of KBT's wheelchair. Then she turns around and violently shoves my hand away. You never change your awful ways. I will deal with you later. She wheels KBT out. She tries looking back at me, but he just cries and hugs her tightly. I was so scared. I almost never got to see you again. It takes Tham Than Mount quite a while to finally calm KBT down. Only then does she remember I'm still inside. She immediately asks the fire squad for an update, but they tell her they could not rescue anyone from the room. The fire was way too strange, and there was a storage of medical alcohol nearby. The flames burned incredibly hot and fast. Everything inside is just pure ruins right now. If anyone was trapped in there, they definitely would not make it out. Tham Than Mount freezes up for a second, but she tries hard to keep her composure. That is impossible. How could that happen? Right after that, her bodyguard comes running over in a complete panic, holding a bunch of legal contracts. Now watch everything flip on its head. Miss Thumb, this is bad. Those share transfer contracts young Master H gave you before the wedding, they are declared completely void. The undefeated legal team of the H family just stepped up. They officially announced that your entire marriage is no longer legally valid. They are about to go after the Thumb family assets next. He gifted all of this to me. How can they just say it is void and take it back? What does an invalid marriage even mean? I never signed any kind of divorce agreement at all. The Thumb family assets belong entirely to us. What does that have to do with him anyway? She furiously argues back, completely losing her cool. The bodyguard lowers his voice, looking nervous. I heard most of the Thumb family properties were actually bought using H family investments. Since the finances are so tied together, it is all considered joint property after marriage. If young Master H brings out any more evidence against you, you might genuinely get kicked out with absolutely nothing left. Thumb Then Mount's face twists with pure anger. Meanwhile, KBT tugs at her sleeve again, sounding pretty wronged and totally pathetic. Young Master H loves you so much. Is he maybe just using this trick to make you change your mind and come back? But this tactic is honestly way too old-fashioned. You are a modern leading lady. You definitely will not fall for these cheap little tricks at all. Thumb Then Mount nods, trying hard to suppress the growing anxiety inside her. How could I ever be fooled by a guy like him? That so-called invalid marriage is definitely something he just made up. That stingy guy is always scheming and calculating everything in his head. We should just completely ignore him and move on. Did I not just arrange a big endorsement contract for you? I will stay by your side for a while and go with you. She says that to comfort him, but inside, she is already starting to panic. When they arrive at the shooting location, she looks for the manager, only to realize the original endorsement model was not replaced at all. Her face goes completely dark. She immediately grabs the photographer, who is busy shooting. Who gave you permission to film him? I ordered the model swapped to KBT ages ago. A nearby staff member quickly runs over to calm things down. General Manager H has already revoked your decision. The shoot is continuing exactly as originally planned. Miss Thumb, please do not make things difficult for us here. The staff member's strictly professional, by the book, attitude absolutely pushes her right over the edge. She raises a hand and slaps her heart. Who do you think you were talking to me like that? Believe me, I will have you fired right now. Then she glares right at the artist currently filming, charges forward without a second thought, and actually raises her hand to slap that guy right across the face, calling him garbage for daring to steal her resources, screaming that she will completely ruin him so he can never work in this industry again. In the end, not even the lighting crew, the photographer, or the assistants could stop her tirade. A nasty bruise is already forming right on the male artist's face. If the police had not shown up in time, things would have gotten much worse. Meanwhile, a few reporters sneak onto the scene, capturing every single bit of this spectacular drama. Not too long after, Turn-Tercy sends me a video clip, his voice actually sounding a bit hesitant, asking if we need to pay money to buy the rights to this footage. I tell him no need for a payoff, just have him posted at the scheduled time. No need to respect her anymore. The H family's leading lady has officially changed. Over at the police station, Thumb Then Mount waits forever but nobody shows up. She finally loses patience, pulling out her phone to call the number saved as hubby, but gets zero answer. She tries every single way to contact me, but the result stays exactly the same. Just then, she overhears some gossip nearby about the young master of the H family. He is actually getting remarried. The exact same heir who threw that massive wedding of the century years ago, throwing away tens of millions all for the sake of true love. But who knew that true love was just a parasite, secretly scheming to completely destroy him in the end. Good thing his parents had enough foresight to make her sign a strict prenup. If she cheated, all those past gifts would get instantly revoked, saving him from losing absolutely everything. Her eyes lock onto a small TV playing a live broadcast. On screen, a man and a woman are slowly making their way into a grand hall. The people around her start whispering again, wondering who that bride could be. It looks like Lady Dip Nh Zhao, the official fiancée of the H family's heir. Thumb Then Mount stares blankly at the screen, the whites of her eyes turning completely red with furious, spiteful rage. She calls her dad, practically screaming like a total maniac, yelling that they cannot be allowed to get married. He has to stop this wedding right now, demanding her parents go smash that ceremony to pieces, crying that H Sieng belongs to her, and only her. The only response is a heavy sigh from the other end. Now watch this part. The camera slowly pans from the wheelchair up a HCG's face. Dip NH Zhao pushes my chair, holding up our perfectly matching rings for the whole world to see. She leans down and places a gentle kiss on my lips, leaving a soft trace of her red lipstick behind. Taking the microphone from the host, she looks right into the lens and says one single thing. She does not care about his past, because his future belongs entirely to her. With that said, she leans down to kiss my cheek one more time, acting exactly as if I were her own personal, prized possession. Then Mount's eyes are practically burning with rage. On the other end of the line, her father finally speaks up. He tells her it is completely over between her and young Master H. She never appreciated him back then, and now she is just blindly refusing to let go, asking if she forgot how incredibly well HCG used to treat her. And what did she ever do in return? She cheated, caused a massive scene at his mother's memorial, wrecked his ancestral home, and completely trashed every ounce of love he had for her. And now she actually has the nerve to ask her dad to ruin his wedding? He says he feels utterly ashamed just being her father. At this point, Them's father has completely given up on his own daughter. Looking up at the happy couple surrounded by thousands of cheering people, like stars around the moon, he crushes down whatever last bit of sympathy he had left for her. The Them family has been far too merciful to her already. All those resources she squeezed out of the H family earlier have now been completely frozen. He is dividing the rest of the assets among her siblings. Whatever legally belongs to her will be fully transferred into her account. But from now on, Then Mount is never to call him dad again. He simply refuses to acknowledge a daughter like her anymore. The call abruptly cuts off, and he instantly blocks her number. She tries dialing back over and over, only getting that dead connection tone. People nearby see her totally losing it and quietly back away, staring at her like she is insane. She smashes her phone into the ground, eyes bulging as she screams, "What are you all looking at?" threatening to make them disappear if they keep staring, yelling that she has money, she has connections, she is the great Then Mount. Can you feel that shift? She grabs her head and covers her eyes, feeling truly abandoned by the entire world. Tears quietly fall as her mind floods with memories of HCG. She had always been the most cast aside, forgotten child in the Them household. After her parents' arranged marriage, everyone just lived their own separate lives. She assumed every family was like that. So she made a bet with friends, aiming to chase down the most noble prize in their circle, HCG. She poured absolutely everything into pursuing him, and eventually, he actually said yes. She figured he would be just like all the others, perfectly proper on the outside, but secretly wild on the inside. Yet to her absolute shock, he was genuinely pure, inside and out, coming from a beautifully warm family, with incredibly classy, high-quality friends surrounding him. Comparing herself to them, she quickly realized the only single thing she could ever brag about was having HCG's devoted love. Being loved made her arrogant, and she started showing off all her worst traits to him. Though he tolerated it all, she knew how to cook perfectly fine, but whined and refused to do it. She used the excuse of hating having maids around, forcing him to fire everyone. Even though he did not understand it, HCG still complied, kindly finding them new jobs elsewhere. She refuses to cook, so that wealthy heir, used to a life of luxury, puts on an apron and starts cooking for her. He practically raises her all over again with pure love, but the more he gives, the more reckless and wild she completely gets. She starts wanting to push his absolute limits. Right around then, a friend brings over a freshly graduated dance student to meet her, asking if she actually wants to try something thrilling. That student isn't as handsome as HCG, but he knows his place, calling her his master, treating her like the only woman on earth. She somehow starts confusing that cheap thrill with HCG's actual love. She hooks up with him right at HCG's birthday party. When he catches them, panic totally takes over her. Like anyone caught red-handed, she lowly bows her head, clinging to his legs, desperately begging him not to abandon her, pleading for him to stay. Then she catches the heavy sadness in his eyes, a look that suddenly pierces straight into her chest like a sharp needle. In the end, HCG actually forgives her, but his gaze toward her always carries an unerasable sadness from then on. Weirdly enough, she gets a twisted mental thrill out of that look, realizing this untouchable guy isn't so flawless after all, that he can actually feel heartbreak. Watch this downward spiral. She starts seeing the other guy more, completely addicted to the thrill, betraying him both physically and mentally. Bit by bit, she slides downhill, and her friends, seeing her having fun, jump right in. She rots from the inside out, her whole vibe turning incredibly toxic, showing just how completely pathetic she is deep down. The second anyone looks closely, and yet she is completely absorbed in it. So what if he is the crown prince? She still spins him around like a toy, bragging about how she plays him like an absolute fool. Every single second ticks by, until the Thumb family lawyer arrives to bail her out and take her away from the hospital. As for the staff and artists she actually assaulted, the lawyer completely works out a compensation plan, draining a huge chunk of money right from her own account to settle things. The second she gets home, she immediately wants to see HCA. Seeing the lights still on in the bridal suite, she rushes over, but right as she pushes the door, she hears voices talking inside. Are we really messing around here? Aren't you scared that old hag will hear us? KBT just laughs softly. She assaulted someone while getting me that brand deal, so she is locked up at the resort right now. Relax, baby. We have hooked up in this spot so many times, and she has never caught me once. You seriously better make me perfectly happy this time. Last time your clueless green hat guy found out about us, he almost broke both my legs. For real. Do you know how long I had to recover? Don't expect me to let you off easy today. Thumb Mount's head spins like a needle just pierced it, and she instantly pulls out her phone to call her security. Once her guys arrive, completely ignoring whatever is happening inside, they kick the door wide open. Piercing screams start ringing out non-stop. Thumb Mount orders them to drag KBT right in front of her, lifts him up and down, and then kicks him hard in a very sensitive spot. A pathetic scream echoes everywhere, like a pig heading to the market. Thumb Mount just waves her hand, keeping that exact same smile. I am still paying your wages this month, and after that, you guys can just go work for that security company. But before you go, completely destroy both of his legs for me. Make it permanent. Then she glares right at the woman who is sneaking around with KBT. Call your husband right now. I am pretty sure he is genuinely going to appreciate this little surprise gift we fully prepared for him. She quickly pulls out her phone, snapping a photo of KBT's miserable state. Now check this crazy timing. Remembering the wedding, she drives straight to the H family's old estate. She knows the H family traditions perfectly well. Any wedding has to include both traditional and modern ceremonies. Since the live broadcast is already over, they are definitely holding the traditional ceremony at the old estate right now. She had gone through this exact thing before too, except she completely complained. The H family's hand-embroidered phoenix gown was way too old-fashioned and brightly colored, absolutely refusing to put it on. She absolutely wouldn't wear the heavy bracelets or the headpiece either. Even though HCang tried so hard to completely convince her, she never backed down, forcing him to just compromise and switch to a much simpler traditional wedding outfit instead. As she steps into the H estate, the whole place is glowing with lights, and the servants look incredibly happy. But the moment they see her, all that joy turns into awkwardness, weird looks, and even pure disgust. She doesn't care at all, rushing straight into the main hall. The ceremony is already underway, quickly reaching the part where they kneel to the elders. The elders are wearing deep blue silk. HCang is already bowing, getting ready to complete the ritual. How could you possibly marry someone else? HCang, you promised to love me forever. That crazy scream, suddenly echoing from behind, completely startles HCang. Everyone turns their heads to look. Thumb Mount looks absolutely pathetic right now, trying to barge in but getting blocked by Namdung. Dip Nh Zhao stands up, gently places her hand on HCG's shoulder, and gives her a subtle little smile. That single little move completely triggers Thumb Mount. She loudly screams out, Dip Nh Zhao, you set up my entire divorce with HCA. But do you seriously think you have won? Who are you anyway? Right now, you are just picking up the trash I tossed out. Do you actually feel proud? She points right at Dip Nh Zhao's wedding dress, her voice sharp and piercing. Do you even know? That traditional gown you are wearing right now is the exact same one I called old-fashioned and refused to put on. Getting married in my cheap leftovers. What are you so incredibly smug about? HCang just quietly reaches over, gently patting Dip Nh Zhao's hand, smiling to completely reassure her. He is worried she might get mad and hit Thumb Mount, but if someone is throwing hands, it really shouldn't be her. Right now, I absolutely refuse to let her hands get dirty dealing with that walking disaster. I look at the butler. Just a slight nod. The butler immediately brings out a dark blue wedding suit. It looks quite similar to mine, just slightly less grand and flashy. You mean this exact outfit? Thumb Mount's pupils shrink in pure panic. A heavy sense of dread suddenly takes over her mind. I have the butler toss that outfit onto the floor. Then, I casually flick my lighter. The flames instantly burst up. Then Mount throws herself forward, but she is still firmly held back by the guards. She shakes her head frantically. HCN. A CN. A CN. That is my wedding dress. The exact one I was supposed to wear to marry you. How could you just burn it? A CN. You are so incredibly heartless. A CN. I am begging you, please put it out. Put out the fire. But the flames are already huge, and that specific wedding fabric catches fire way too easily. Barely 3 minutes pass. Pure ash. I hold Dip NH Dao's hand tight, feeling a very quick flash of nervous tension coming from her. I completely understand what she is so afraid of right now. After all, Then Mount and I used to be incredibly chaotic together. Deep feelings like that are never easily erased. I gently pat her hand, doing my best to reassure her. Back on that terrible day, trapped in that blazing inferno, I truly thought my life was over. The shadows literally reached out to drag me under, and the one person who could have saved me chose to stand beside the one hurting me. Just when I thought my final moment had actually arrived, someone suddenly rushed in, completely drenched, soaking wet from head to toe. Now check this out. Dip NH Dao steps right out of the thick smoke, desperately pulling me into the wheelchair. The metal frame was glowing red hot from the fierce flames. She pushes me out using her bare hands, basically fighting the blazing fire with just her skin. I can hear her sobbing, yet she stays fiercely determined to get me out. I asked her once, why do you even care about me this much? Dip NH Dao just laughed. Because I want to. You got a problem with that? When I was little, got bullied constantly, always just taking it quietly. My real parents were awful. They actually wanted me to quit school and start working. You were the one who convinced Aunt Ha to let me stay, letting me study, and actually grow up safely. You told me a girl needs to be deeply independent, so nobody can ever treat her like cheap vegetables to be tossed around. All those old memories, they just come rushing right back. Even if you do not like me back, I have to keep you tied to my side. I refuse to let a genuinely good guy like you become just another memory. You saved me back then, so now, it is my turn to save you. Right at that exact moment, my completely shattered, love-scarred heart actually starts beating for someone once again. I clutch my chest, laughing softly out loud. She actually thinks I am hurting and tries rushing me straight to the hospital. Taking that chance, I pull her hand back and gently kiss her cheek. Then she pulls out a few of those legal agreements my mother had left behind for me. That was the backup plan my mother prepared just for me. If Then Mount ever betrayed me, every single gift would instantly lose its value. Even the divorce papers were secretly signed beforehand by my mother and Then Aunt. Back then, Then Mount was still fiercely confident in her feelings for me, so she actually signed that agreement without hesitation. Don't even try it. You will never actually tear us apart in this entire lifetime. She never understood that my mother did not want to split us up. She just wanted to leave a safe exit for her hopelessly romantic, overly devoted son. I hug that stack of agreements close. My tears just fall freely. Mom, just how much of a terrible son was I, making you worry about me even after you passed away? I'm so incredibly sorry, Mom. Once the wedding finally ends, Then Mount gets tossed right out of the H family estate like some pathetic stray dog. From that moment on, those massive gates are permanently shut in her face. Then Mount struggles to stand, staring from a distance at the old H estate, watching it shift from loud celebration to total silence. Her heart feels like it is being brutally pierced by needles. She secretly wonders to herself, what is that person inside doing right now? Honestly, the answer is already way too painfully obvious. She slowly drives all the way back to their newlywed house, a place that has completely lost the warm, familiar feeling of a real home. Moving like a hollow shell, she frantically tears through all the cabinets, desperately searching, but there is absolutely nothing left. Not even a single piece of his clothing remains. She heads into the study, a room once filled with all their couple photos. And here is the crazy part. Stepping inside, she instantly realizes every single picture has somehow been replaced, swapped out for photos of her and KBT instead. Then she walks into the glass flower room. He used to love drinking afternoon tea, so she had custom built this little floral room just for him. A quiet spot to relax, sip his tea, and admire the blooming flowers. But look at this glass room. Now, without its loving owner around to care for it, everything inside has completely withered away. Exactly like her. Without him, she is absolutely nothing. She just lies there flat on the sofa all night long. The next morning, her assistant's frantic phone call completely wakes her up. Miss Thumb, you need to check the news right now. Annoyed, she messes up her hair, opens the app, and realizes she is trending on the hot search. So many people online are brutally dragging her name, calling her a completely heartless and ruthless person. And then they start digging deep into her background. From there, they actually track down KBT, exposing every single dirty secret between the two of them. In an instant, the absolute worst insults start flooding the comments. They say catching the eye of a wealthy heir is a blessing that takes 8 lifetimes to earn. When you play around with someone else's feelings, karma is bound to hit you right back, giving him those green horns. Does it actually feel fun now? A total scumbag and a shameless woman. A perfect match. Than Mount furiously logs on, picking bitter fights with the entire internet. Whenever anyone says she never deserved HCing, she relentlessly chases them down with angry replies. But as time slowly ticks by, her heart just grows more and more hollow, like absolutely nothing could ever fill that crushing void again. It takes an entire 6 months before I hear any news about Than Mount again. Word is, she ended up in jail again. But this time, it is definitely not just some petty little scuffle. She actually went and investigated the real truth behind that old fire, finally discovering the lighter left at the scene belonged to KBT. Now watch this. He always kept a lighter on him, while HCing never smoked. So she hires people to drag KBT straight into an abandoned house she bought. After injecting him with muscle relaxers, she casually drops him right into a bathtub completely filled with ice. Watching KBT freeze until he nearly passed out, she would pull him right back out, over and over again, leaving his entire body covered in severe frostbite wounds. Right after that, she pours pure alcohol all over that tiny house, not missing a single corner anywhere. KBT, completely broken and barely breathing, gets left right in the middle of that alcohol puddle. The lighter traces a perfect arc in the air as she tosses it away, finishing all of that just as the flames roar, the absolute highest. She walks straight into the police station to confess. Tons of reporters hear the news, rushing in like sharks catching a scent, eager to interview Than. They asked Miss wasn't KBT supposed to be your lover? You loved him so deeply, so why do something this incredibly cruel? Miss acting this ruthlessly, is there some kind of hidden, secret story completely buried behind all this? Than Mount suddenly turns her head, staring intently right into a reporter's live phone camera as if she is looking directly at a specific person. I am a taunting, but sadly, it is already way too late. The reporters try to ask more, but the cops quickly notice and start escorting everyone out. I happen to catch that exact sentence from her on the screen perfectly. A soft body gently leans against me. Zhao pouts her lips and asks if I feel moved, teasingly offering to arrange a reunion with my old flame. We have been married for 3 whole months now, so I completely understand these cute little moods of hers. I give a helpless smile, pulling her into a warm hug, begging her to spare me because watching too much will give me nightmares. I tell her to stop watching, saying, instead of wasting time on that, we should figure out what she wants for dinner so I can cook. Only then does Zhao finally calm down. She immediately demands sweet and sour ribs, king crab, garlic sauce, and spicy beef tendon. I memorize every single dish, pulling her along to go change and buy groceries. She protests that she is not even done ordering and tells me not to rush her, so I suggest we just pick while shopping. Seeing her bright smile, my entire soul feels completely washed clean. The life I always wanted is actually exactly like this. A warm pot of tea, one good meal, just 2 people together. Luckily for me, I woke up before it was too late. Yeah,